Hello and welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Clemente. Alongside with me are two of my bestest best friends. I'm going to start with the man directly below me, the man with the pink headset, CHUBAX.
Good morning or good afternoon or good night, wherever you are.
Whenever
Yeah,
you're
happy to be back here. Crazy week, so let's get to it.
below him is another one of our bestest best friends, again waking up or like staying late after
Staying
work to
late.
join us and discuss our favorite shows. Arnie, how you doing?
Hello there. Doing well. So far, so good.
Very
Still
cool.
alive. Still alive. All right. With that, if this is your first time in our channel, welcome and thank you very much for review. We are Plus 63 HP, stable of podcast, where on Mondays and Tuesdays we discuss this particular show, our review show, where we deep dive into a particular movie or a particular show of the week, provide our opinions and ratings so you know whether you should watch it yourself or with your friends and your families. On Wednesdays, we record and drop our very first D&D campaign. A couple of middle-aged old men doing their first tabletop RPG, recording it and then sharing it to you guys for prosperity. We hope that you join in our adventure because it has been extremely fun. We've been playing it for over a year now, a year and a half close. And there's no signs of us slowing down. So it's truly enjoyable. On Thursdays, we have our Reacts show where curated list of trailers, videos, featurettes, and clips. We watch them together. We react to them. We see how hyped we are with these upcoming content that's coming down the pipe. On Fridays, CHUBAX and our other bestest best friend RJ cannot get enough of D&D, so they spun their second campaign where they are the bad guys. So every single day of the week, you have a new content for you guys to enjoy and join us in the fun. But that's for the week. In this particular episode, we are very excited to continue on discussing one of the best shows that has graced our television sets in quite a long while.
Mm-hmm.
The Last of Us on HBO Max. It is again, if you haven't heard of it,
Why?
adapted.
How?
It's adapted from a very popular PlayStation video game. And it is a post-apocalyptic story about love and survival and enduring. With that, we are on episode 5. So,
Six.
oh,
Six.
episode 6.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Unfortunately.
Oh no!
Mm-hmm.
Almost
What happened?
done.
Okay. We are on episode 6. Um, if you haven't seen the show,
And you know
uh,
what episode 7 is about, right?
it's
The
what do you
the
call it?
preview
The
is
DLC,
Yeah.
it's the DLC. Yeah.
What's the name of the DLC again?
Left Behind.
Left
Left
Behind.
behind.
All
And
right.
it's the
So
title of the episode also, I think.
It
um,
is.
we will be discussing episode 6 right now. So if you haven't seen the series, watch it. Pause this podcast, watch it, come back, and let's discuss. So with that, um, I think we should just go full spoilers all in already because at this point it's more than halfway. So I'm gonna turn it over to Arnie for the synopsis, and then we'll discuss what we like, what we didn't like, what we are experiencing. Too many emotions watching the show. So Arnie, take it away, episode 6.
So episode 6 starts with a time jump. It's 3 months later.
I
So it
know.
shows Joel and Ellie. They've been walking for 3 months ever since Kansas City. Towards where the fireflies are. So it's already snowing. It's winter. Very appropriate because right now it's snowing in my area, which is weird.
For the first time in a long while. And it's
Yeah.
not snowing in mine. It's
Mm-hmm.
funny.
So yeah, so he there was like a cute scene. There's a little bit of an Easter egg if you're fans of Northern Exposure, and I think one of the actors for Last of the Mohicans or one of those
Yeah, the actor
movies.
of Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, so it's a little it's kind of like a funny, light-hearted hostage situation. And I like the part when did you tell him the truth? Yes. Are you telling me the truth? Yes.
Yeah.
How come you didn't shoot him? Oh, the gun's really far away. So
She
it was a
just did
fun.
not give a fuck.
She was like, I'm tired and all that. But basically, it's also like a setup for the River of Death. Basically, it's just to give a foreboding warning to Joel and Ellie that if you cross the river, you'll probably be dead because there's bad people across that river. Um, and of course, they keep walking. It's just Joel and Ellie, bonding, and then Joel for some reason he insists on doing both watches. I mean, not sleeping
Mm.
to keep watch, but he ends up sleeping anyways, and then
Attempts.
attempt. And as somebody who works night shift, it's really hard to
Really
stay
tough.
up,
I
especially
know.
when you're tired and nobody to talk to and all that stuff. But basically Ellie took on the second watch, and she's trying to impress Joel. And then of course Joel's like, no, no, it's my job, yada yada yada. So there's that. And they talked about what their goals and dreams were, if the world was different. And that's when we got the hint that Ellie wants to be an astronaut. And I heard from the video games there was a nice touching scene, which I haven't seen yet because I haven't played the video game. So, but I already heard about it, so it's not that big of a surprise for me. But I'm sure it will still be all the feels when we get there. Um, then of course they end up crossing the River of Death, and they get you know, there's people on horseback that meets them. And
Mhm.
there was a tense moment when they were like having a dog smell if Joel or
Ooh.
Ellie were infected. And of course, we all know that Ellie was bit, but we don't know if
If
any
it's
changes in
that
her
that's
body.
considered, yeah.
Yeah, because if they had the device that the Fedra had, Ellie's dead,
Yep.
basically, right? But the dog, for some reason, didn't detect any fungus on Ellie, so she was able to get out. But Joel was like, he felt powerless to protect her because there's really no moves left except just to let things happen or play out.
I don't think he could have done anything. No, I mean,
Oh no, no,
even if there
they have the
was
high
even
ground.
there
I
was a play. No, no, even if there was a play that he could do,
mhm.
he couldn't do
Yeah,
it. He was
he
too
couldn't do
ano.
it.
Like,
That's why I didn't think about the scene too much
Yeah,
until he was reliving it with Tommy later, so we'll discuss it then.
yeah, yeah,
When I was watching, it's like, all right, cool, whatever.
yeah,
But at the end, with the context on what he was feeling, what he was doing, it's like,
yeah,
shit, that was such a powerful
yeah.
scene.
Yeah, and as what my friends have alluded to, Joel was starting to have panic attacks. It's also signs of PTSD, some survivor's guilt, and all that stuff. It's my wheelhouse, basically. As soon as he started touching his chest, and I'm like, well, it's not a heart attack, but he's like having these emotions because he still remembers what happened to Henry and Sam. And of course, he also remembers Sarah and all the things that he did to survive. So basically, so the group of people brings them to their kind of like a gated community. Let's put it that way.
mhm.
Um, and um, and of course, Joel was able to find Tommy, and that was like a heartbreaking. I mean, it's a touching moment. You get reunited with family, and you know, and then of course the drama started happening. Well, because Joel was trying to convince Tommy to go with him. Because Joel needs help because he's almost deaf and he's
That
older.
that's
He's
where
older.
that's where that's why this is such a powerful episode, despite
Mhm.
not a lot. If you really look at it from afar, not a whole lot really happened, but
Yeah.
the context that you put it, this is where it's a different experience than the video game. Because in
Hmm.
the video game, you can't have these little details. Like
Hmm.
you are so immersed in the action, you don't
Yeah.
realize that, oh, that's why he got jumped
Hmm.
by in a few episodes ago by this kid because he
Yeah.
couldn't hear. Of course you can hear. You've been fighting for 20 years, right? So
Yeah.
you couldn't hear. and then you're having panic attacks, and you're old, and you're slow, and you're getting scared. You're finally scared, and you're scared not because you're scared, because um
You have somebody to protect.
their synergy, like Ellie and Joel, like
Mhm.
Ellie is always afraid, and she's only not afraid with Joel finally.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
conversely, Joel was never afraid of anything
No.
Mhm.
until now. So it's kind of like shit. I
Well,
wouldn't know what to do here. I'm so happy that there's
I mean, it's just harking back to what Bill said about Frank. Like, I wasn't afraid until you came along, and that's basically what happened, right?
exactly.
And but yeah, so basically, Joel was, yeah, again, trying to convince Tommy to join the party. And of course, Joel said, I can't because I'm gonna be a dad, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be good at it, yada yada yada. And then Joel just said, I guess we'll see, or I guess we'll find out. And of course, that's like it's kind of like a tear down of Tommy, like, oh, whatever. You never had a kid before, you've never been
Flashing
responsible
out.
before, yada yada. So there's a lot of flashing out. And of course, it's a little complicated because Joel had a daughter, and the daughter died. And of
So this
course,
is one
this
of the
this
major departure from the game.
oh, okay.
She was not pregnant in the game.
Oh, with Maria. Oh,
Maria.
okay. So Maria, the council member, was also happened to be Tommy's wife. Basically was pregnant and was kind of like doting on Ellie, I guess. Maybe because it's just a maternal instinct there, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe just or trying to find out as much information about Joel or Ellie. So, she's an
Maybe both.
attorney, so she's trying to get the feel of what these two new members are. And of course, when Ellie was at Maria's house, she found out about Kevin, Maria's first child, and Sarah, it's Joel's child. So in those 3 months plus, Joel never mentioned to Ellie that he had a daughter. And then all of a sudden she finds out. Of course, she saw the age of the daughter when she died, so she probably did the calculation. Oh, it's around my age, or just a little bit younger, or something like that.
Yeah.
So she
Because
started
Sarah died 14.
14, and then I think Ellie's around that age, or just a little bit
I
older.
think Ellie is 13 or 15, something to that. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, yeah, but basically, it's basically just she is already projecting that. Oh, yep. Maybe Joel is seeing Sarah in me, or something like that. And then, of course, Joel and Tommy had this heart to heart, and he basically told Tommy the truth from the start. Like, how about Tess, about Ellie, and how about his insecurities, his anxieties, panic attack. Basically, it's like we don't see this scene a lot in media and even in real life, that like men, two adult men, just talking about their fears or their feelings, and
Yep.
how much help they need. Because you know we usually see in media, especially in American media, that the macho, yeah, I could take on everything, yada yada, whatever. But this guy, the main protagonist, is actually telling basically an NPC, or like a player two, I need help because I'm deaf,
Mm-hmm.
I'm old, I'm having panic attacks, and I'm scared that I'm gonna get this girl killed, or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, Tommy said, "Okay, I'll help." But Ellie overheard this, and she was, of course, upset. And then I also seen the YouTube videos, the comparison between the video game and the action and the
Yeah, that
HBO
that
show.
speech was pretty much line by line. So
Yeah, the dialogue is line by line, even the tone, the
Mm-hmm.
acting. You could have just made the Last of Us show the cutscene for the movie, for the game, and you wouldn't even tell the difference. And it was well acted. And I even read somewhere that Pedro kept crying after that scene whenever they shot it. But I mean, who wouldn't be? Because it was deep. Like when he was telling Ellie, you don't know about loss. I know you're not my daughter. I'm not your dad. And then Ellie, like, yeah, I've lost people that I cared about either
We
died or
lost
left,
everybody.
except you. And so like, so Ellie kind of like, like professor, not love, but like, I really care about Joel now. And then now you're leaving or about to leave me.
They went
So
through a lot in that short amount of
yeah,
time.
that's a lot of breakthroughs. And of course, because of that, a little bit of backtracking when Joel had another panic attack in that gated community. He thought he saw Sarah. And a little bit of tidbit, just saw this in our social media. Our former teacher, Q, uh, worked on the show, and he has a friend, and that girl with the curly hair was his friend. So a little bit of a Easter egg for us, at least. But basically, yeah, so he thought it was Sarah, and had Sarah
And I
lived,
didn't
or
even know that the actress for Sarah is the daughter of Tandy Newton.
Tandy Newton.
oh yeah,
I
Nico Parker, yeah,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
I saw her, I said like
someone
she
like
is
someone.
so much like a young Tandy Newton. And then I heard from like New Rock Stars or something. It was
yeah,
the daughter of that.
yep,
Makes sense. Gorgeous girl, gorgeous
Just
girl.
like
yeah.
Zoe. I didn't know that Zoe was the daughter of Back to the Future. Back
What's
to the
Zoe?
Future's what's
Emma
her name?
Thompson.
No, Zoe. What's his name? Her name?
Where?
Uh,
Which Zoe?
no, uh shucks.
In this show?
No, not here, not here. Just another
Oh,
actress.
Not Zoe Saldana, right?
Zoe
No, no,
Deutsch?
no. Zoe Deutsch. There we go.
Zoe,
She's her mom
oh,
is no Marty McFly's mom.
Yeah.
oh, Leah Thompson.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Leah Thompson, yeah. They look
Oh
so much
wow.
alike too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. Yeah, I just caught that and like, oh
Yeah.
shit, that's why she looks
Yeah. So
so pretty and
we
familiar.
we could go into a rabbit hole of all these nepo babies, but
Yeah,
if they're good and they're great actresses, I mean,
it'll work.
you know, it'll work out.
Mhm.
But anyway, so yeah, in a different life, if the infection never happened, yeah, around that time, 20 years later, Sarah would have had a kid by now, right?
Hmm.
And he would have been a granddad. And then of course, combining with what Ellie told him the night before, he was like, you know, he reconsidered his decision. So he went to the barn. At first, he tried to escape with the horse, but then he's like, "Okay, Ellie, you deserve your choice." And without even finishing his sentence, like, "Okay, let's go."
I
And
love that. There's no
they're like,
because any other show would have been like there's like a little space, some music coming in, and then
yeah,
Ellie looking left and right. But no, it's like not even.
no,
It's like
Fuck
I
it.
still think that Joe's like, now let's go.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, no offense, Tommy, I just don't know you. So,
But also,
you
it's
know,
like it's real. Like even if you had
yeah,
this weird
yeah,
interaction the night before and you fought,
yeah.
the love for that person will not go away. You'd still
Yeah,
choose like,
yeah. And the
it's
thing is,
perfectly done.
in a different show, they would probably ask, "Well, what changed your mind?" It's just gonna be
Exactly.
like bickering, like which is kind of like
No,
overused,
no,
and
let's
that's
just
and let's
let's skip to the good part. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. And to be honest, it's kind of like not even realistic. Like, really, that's your problem. I mean, you wanted him to take you, so why even
Why
play hard to
bother?
get or something? Yeah, yeah. So there's that. So they go down to they left the gated community, which Tommy said, When you come back, you have a space here." uh, so the brothers patched things up, hopefully, right? And then they tried to get to the University of Colorado or East Colorado. I don't know the exact university, on horseback. And then of course we also get a montage of him teaching Ellie how to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen people do like a parallel with Grogu as Mando trying to teach him how to shoot. But basically, it's a lot more Joel and Ellie buddy cop scenes and all that. And then when they got to the university, they saw the Firefly logos, but nobody was there. And I like this part. So when they're like, Ellie's like, "Ooh, there's guard posts, but no guards. Gun?" And she like, and told Joel was like, "Yeah,
Gun.
yeah." So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. The
they
entire
already have,
episode too is like, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
but the entire episode we're seeing that, in order to show the 3 months, it wasn't just like, oh, no, they improved. Both of them improved. Like
yeah.
They're a team
They
Ellie,
have
now.
shorthand.
Yeah, Ellie
Yeah,
was now protecting Joel the same way that Joel protected Ellie
yeah,
literally an episode prior,
yeah,
where she falls asleep and then she wakes up in the middle of the night and sees Joel up.
mm,
Now holding the gun, putting the gun in the backpack too. That's the problem. Like before, she kept on putting it in
yeah,
her jacket. Now it's
yeah,
like, hey, gun. I noticed
yeah,
that she pulled it out of her backpack because it's a
yeah,
little bit more secure. So it's like,
yeah,
all right. So everything is like, all right. They're literally we're seeing them grow not only
yeah,
together but like individually. Like, are
yeah,
you gonna teach me to hunt? Are you gonna X, Y, and Z? So it's great.
yeah. They have a shorthand already, so there you could see that there's already some trust and kind of like communicating, non-verbal communication. It's verbal, but there's like a lot of things like Joel doesn't have to basically tell her how to do things. Like Gus, yeah, all right, so she knows what to do now, right? So they go into the university, or I guess the medical center of the university. They saw some monkeys. It was
Monkeys.
abandoned, but it did look like the people there evacuated quickly, and then they ended up seeing a map. So they're thinking of moving to, I guess, Utah or something like that. Uh, only gripe there is like, okay, you evacuated and you basically left an X marks the spot on where you're going. So a little bit of, I don't know if it's writing or maybe it's the video game.
Yeah,
It's the
I've
same thing.
even in the video game, I thought about like if you're the Fireflies and you have
Yeah,
markings on your territory, like you
yeah,
even at work when we write something on the whiteboard, we're required to wipe it down. So
yeah.
you know what?
Or at
We'll
the
give
very
it to
least,
them.
or if you don't want to, at least burn it down. I mean, come on, at least don't leave clues for the raiders to follow you, right?
Seems like they
Uh,
were in a rush.
yeah, but they were in a rush. I get it. And then, of course, when they were about to leave, they overhear some
And
raiders.
I don't think there's like
Uh,
people traveling a lot. I don't think they're
yeah, I
worried
mean,
about armies coming in or
yeah, they're not worried about. I mean, the only thing they're worried about is the infected. Because obviously they don't read maps anymore. But of course, there's still raiders. I mean, they're quite aware of raiders, as it was seen earlier. After that Joel and Ellie tried to leave the medical center without being detected. But of course, one of them saw them, and there was like a skirmish. And Joel was able to kill the attacker, but not without taking any. He took critical damage. Put it that way. Um,
I also
so
the things where I thought the game was a little bit better, right? Because like I don't like
mhm.
one of these like you struggle and then you realize like, oh, I'm shot or I'm
Yeah,
stabbed.
yeah.
In the video game, Joel fell off second floor and got impaled by a rebar. But maybe
Ooh,
that's a
okay.
little too rough for HBO Max. But yeah,
Well, or maybe like, well, Pedro said I'm under contract with Disney, so don't damage me. So,
no
so
no hard stunts.
no hard stunts. I don't have my my Beskar armor, so but basically he took critical damage, and
got
Ellie
stabbed by the bat,
basically, yeah, by the a broken bat, or I think
broken bat.
it was a shiv.
A shard, yeah, a shard from the
Yeah.
back.
So they escaped. Ellie was kind of wasting some bullets, but at least I get why she did it. Is so that the other raiders will not pursue them. And then they get to this like railroad. Excuse me. And that's when Joel passes out. And of course, Ellie panics, and then that's where like I can't do this, or I'm lost without you, and wake up, and then that's
I
where
still
we end the
remember
episode.
doing this in the game.
Hmm. All right, so that's pretty much it. And wow, I mean, like I said, it's not a lot of action. The only action we got is basically the skirmish. No infected. So compared to episode 4 or episode 5, that we had the bloaters and the infected, and then of course the Kansas City militia, basically. This one very light on action, but a lot of emotion. Not a lot of traumatizing, unlike last episode.
It's gonna piss Ben Shapiro off again.
Oh well, that dude, whatever.
Uh,
Well,
to actually, in fact, it's the opposite of the previous episode where from this horde of infected. Now
Mhm.
you get to see what works, like their life can work.
Mhm.
Like I was looking at it too. It's like I know it's not gonna happen, but if I were Joel and Ellie, then I would just stay
Yeah.
for a little longer, like a couple of months, maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
traveled when it was no longer winter, right? But the idea
Yeah.
of it is like there's a town, I have food, I have booze, I'm watching a movie, there's
Yeah.
electricity, and I have a house. Somebody give me a house. Shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And the thing is to also like the whole joke about, oh yeah, it's communism.
and and that was a good touch too, because uh what's his name? Joel and Tommy were both in the army, so they're fighting against communism, right?
Yeah. And they're
and
Texans. And they're Texans.
and it's like, no, it's not communism. It's a commune. It's like that's what communism means. And
Yeah.
they just gave up. Tommy just gave up. I love that
Yeah.
part.
And then of course when Joel was explaining to Ellie that there's two types of people who wants to own everything, and then people that doesn't want anyone to own anything. Which is kind of like black and white, but of course everything exists in the middle. Uh, so yeah, there's another. Of course, all these people like, oh, there's pushing some communist agenda. No, it's just how things work. There's no more. When money doesn't exist or doesn't value anything anymore, and you're reliant on other people to help you survive. I mean, same thing with Walking Dead. Same thing with all those post-apocalyptic societies. I mean, you know. But we're digressing. But basically, yeah. So this episode, I think, yeah, of course, the cliffhanger there is like, is Joel gonna die? Of course, if you played the video game, you will know what happens to Joel. But if you're just coming in cold or basically fresh, there's that tension. And with HBO, I mean, especially with after post Game of Thrones, we know that even main characters are not safe, but so there's that tension that maybe Joel will die or something like that. So I don't know. So like I said, I haven't played the video games. I've seen some snippets of it, but I haven't read the entire story. So I'm waiting for tomorrow. We'll see the DLC. I don't know if they'll go back to Joel during that episode, but we'll see. We have
Most
three
likely at the
episodes
end.
left. Yeah, maybe Joel will wake up or whatever, but we do have three episodes left. So it's getting there, and season two has been green lit, so we'll see.
With that, Chubax, general thoughts, things
Oh
that you
yeah,
like and did
I
not.
love it, and just hitting all the right beats, all the emotional beats, all the action beats. I mean, they're just talking, but it's never boring.
Hmm.
Nice scenery, background. I love how they made the the village or the commune work, and how they
Yeah,
showed it was nice.
yeah.
Um, I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil Arnie from Last of Us Part Two. So,
Mm.
uh, just one question, John. Was that Dina?
I couldn't sleep after watching
I
that. And
I I saw some podcasts or articles that Dana or Dina was teased in this episode.
it was one of, I think it was like a bad joke by the creators, but that wasn't Dina, right? So that
Mm.
was confirmed. It wasn't the actress where Dina was modeled after, right?
Hmm.
But I think it's one of those ideas where they will put it's kind of like a safety bet, like, oh look, it can be Dina in the future or something like that, but it's not
Yeah.
Dina.
Okay.
Not Dina yet.
Not Dina yet.
Yeah.
Not Dina
We
yet.
don't
Yeah.
But
know yet.
one, it's like it's definitely not the actress. So there are a lot of rumors are saying that the character model or the actress where Dina was based out of is a stellar actress herself.
Hmm.
So she will most likely be cast to play Dina in and if
Yeah.
in the next season, right?
Yeah.
Uh
Because
so
even in
they
the
they
scene, even in the game, that was how Tina said she saw Ellie first
Mm,
eating in the
Mm.
cafeteria.
yeah. So it's it might be retroactively Dina in the future, but for that episode that wasn't, right? So
Okay. Yeah.
so,
Well.
uh I yeah, before I again, this is one of those episodes where at first viewing it was just okay, but
Mm.
I think that speech at the end
Mhm.
where it is one of those times where usually we like show don't tell, right?
Yeah.
But this is one of the few times where tell worked. Like
Mhm.
I loved
And for
I
me,
love
this the pacing of the episode is perfect. We got the nice funny intro.
Mhm.
We got the tense moment with the riders.
Mhm.
Then we get this nice relaxed moment in the
Mhm.
commune, but then it devolves into the emotional gut punch. And then we get the nice teaser at the end. So one of my favorite episodes,
yeah. Exactly that.
personally.
For me, it's like it was
Yeah.
just good. It was above average, of course, but that conversation between Tommy and Joel,
Yeah.
detailing all of the things, not being able to hear, having a panic attack, like
Losing
understanding that
Tess. Losing Tess.
again having to tell Tommy about Tess, tell her about being not infected, telling her about all of the what they've experienced just to find Tommy,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And then, I also love the idea that it wasn't smooth. Like their conversation wasn't smooth.
Yeah.
Like, Joel was so upset that Tommy wasn't gonna drop everything and help him after all of the,
Mhm.
the things that they've done together or he's done for him. And then
Mhm.
understanding that, Tess was not Tess, Maria was pregnant and he's turning a new leaf, but still at the end saying yes to Joel's favor of um
Ellie.
taking Ellie to Colorado. All of it worked. Like all of that, just like when I retroactively look at the episode about, how Joel fell asleep, how, he could like it was scared about the river and stuff like that. Everything just kind
Yeah.
of had multiple layers. But
Mhm.
also showing the idea that Ellie is growing and learning. She's learning how to take care of herself. And now there might be a cliffhanger, but hopefully now she can take care of Joel back because they
Mhm.
need each other. So I'm excited. I love it.
Yeah.
Arnie.
Well, for me, a little more about the I already had it in my brain and I kind of lost it. Um, they talked about, oh yeah, but because in the house where Ellie and Joel were placed, there was like a diary, and Ellie just read it. There's like, this is what teenagers worried about before the infection,
Yeah.
and I was like, yep,
Boys and clothes.
boys in clothes, like, yep. So, and I mean, in going back to my work, sometimes I do get some teenagers in my unit, and a lot of their concerns are like, okay, I've been there, done that. Okay, I get it, but also like that that right now you think it's that important right now, but you know, if you see some cordyceps, you're not gonna worry about that boy who broke your heart. But it's so there's that little detail there, plus like Maria teaching Ellie how to use that cup. So for people who don't know, it's an alternative to feminine napkins. Uh, and just all these details that they added, like the food, the bar that Tommy had, and the movie, and even like the kids. See, this is what I like when it's done right, like representation done right. I noticed there was like a kid with Down syndrome
Hmm.
in the audience, but they didn't have to flash it. Like the entire. It's just like we're just kids watching movie. So it's just not like what most people say. Oh, you're just shoving it in our face or something like that, right? No, it's just like there's just a normal kid, normal audience here. So at least it doesn't steal away from the scene. But you also, if you're paying attention, you'll see, oh, there's somebody who has Down syndrome or somebody who's not. who's probably Asian or something like that. So it's a good, good way of and I'm pretty sure those are like the kids of the crew or something like that. But but yeah, it was good. It was good, and that gated community, even like the how they took over, it was like yeah, made sense. So yeah, I like this episode. Uh, and I think it's more of like a launching point for the next 3 episodes too. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, let's close this amazing episode down with our ratings. Start with you, CHUBAX.
Yeah, I'll go with the 9.
Of course. CHUBAX is a 9. I am also going with a 9. It was an 8 again. When I was watching it, it was an 8. And then
Mhm.
once I got to the end and what is happening, a little bit of action, excited about, one of the few times that I'm excited about the cliffhanger. And I know they're not going to resolve what's happening with Joel right away because we know
Mhm.
what's the next episode is going to be. I'm saying it's about right. I like the pacing.
Yeah. It's a 9 for me because I saw the preview for tomorrow's episode, and then the after the episode, or when if you watch it online, there's like a short behind the scene, not really behind the scene, but the creators talk about what they did with the episode, and we're like, oh yeah. So it's a 9 for me. Yeah,
All right.
you know.
Awesome. Well, again, almost every episode is either a 10 or a 9, so we cannot reiterate it enough that if there's an opportunity, or if there's like if you're gonna use your free trial for HBO Max at anything, you should use it with this particular show. It actually makes the subscription very, very worth it. So with that, we have our interactions, we have our discussions, we have our ratings. We truly suggest you watch this show. Come back and discuss with us. So next week we'll be discussing episode 7, Left Behind. It'll be mostly a flashback with what had happened with Ellie right before the season started. So with her friend in the mall, which is going to be a ride as well. Can't wait to discuss it with my bros. But on behalf of CHUBAX and on behalf of Arnie, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to youtube.com/plus63hp. Add us on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook with the handle at +63hp. And if you don't want to watch this video on demand, you can search us in your favorite podcasting app of choice. Just search +63hp. Subscribe to us there as well and help us grow our channel, get us connected to other like-minded individuals that like content that are pretty dope. With that, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much and goodbye.